Looking to start your cloud journey, but don't know where to begin? In this video, we'll set up a fresh AWS account together from scratch. We'll look at how to secure it, how to set up budget alerts, and give you peace of mind for getting started on your AWS journey. All right, let's start setting up this account. So, along the way, I'm going to be either blanking out the screen or just pausing to put in sensitive information. But in the setup process, I'm assuming you'll be able to figure out what you need to put in the different blanks. So, we'll come to the registration page where we can sign up for a new AWS account. And the first thing that we'll need is a root user email address. Now, this needs to be a unique email address. You can't use the same one across multiple accounts. And this is going to be the root user email address, which is very important to keep secure. So ideally, this would be an email that the rest of the world hasn't already had leaked. Ideally, it'd be something that only you know. You can use plus addresses for things like Google Mail, to where it's your email plus AWS management account or something at gmail.com. That can be a way to make unique emails if your email provider allows it. So pick an email and you'll need to pick an account name, also something that you'll want to be unique and understood. And we'll go ahead and put this in here and then move on to the next step. You'll see at this point that you'll get a verification email. Just put in the number and you'll be able to move on with the process. Once you've verified your email, you'll need to set up a secure password for the user. Again, remember this is the root account user for this account. They'll be able to do literally everything, including billing related things. So you want to make sure that this is a secure password. Ideally, store this in a password manager just to make sure that your account is as safe as possible from someone taking over it to do crypto mining or AI workloads or whatever on your credit card. So once you filled in your password, it's going to take you to a screen to enter your contact information. You will need to fill this out with all of your details so that AWS can contact you in the event that they ever need to. Once you've entered in your contact details and you move to the next page, you'll be presented with an opportunity to fill out your billing information. You will need to use a credit card for this. There's no way around that, even for a personal account. It's just what you have to do. So once again, I'm going to cut this part so that you can't see my stuff, and I'll see you in the next part. So once you've entered your credit card information, it's going to ask to verify your identity. You can use either a text message or a voice call for this. Text message will probably be a little bit faster, but it's up to you. And then you'll need to fill out a CAPTCHA most likely in order to make sure that you are a real human. And then the last step here is going to be to pick our support plan. If this is your first time working with an AWS account and you're just doing this for learning purposes, the basic support plan is fine. That's only going to get you far enough to handle basic account and billing questions, not technical things. If you're looking for technical support, you'll need to pick a higher tier. But basic support is perfectly fine for getting started. It'll give you just enough to explore an AWS account and again, get any questions answered if billing issues arise or account issues arise. And so with that, your account should be created. You can click this button here to go to the management console. And from here, you're going to start to see a number of different pop-ups that you can click through. One thing that we'll want to do is make sure that our region is set up okay. So up here in the top right, we can see that we have a number of options. You can pick something that's close to you, or if you're just doing personal study, US East 1, North Virginia is a good choice because most of the services are available there. I'm going to go ahead and pick US East 1 for my own purposes. Again, you can pick something that's closer to you if you like. If you're definitely planning on using the account for actually serving customers nearby, it will make more sense for you to potentially pick a region close to you. But if you're just learning, US East 1 is a good default choice. So with that set up, The account creation is basically complete, but we have a few more things if we want to secure it a little bit more and if we want to dive into how we can alert ourselves if we have any billing things come up. So let's get started on taking care of those things. The first thing that we want to do here in the top right or top left search bar is to type in IAM or Identity Access Management, and we're going to click the IAM link. And you'll see here that there's a security recommendation to add MFA for the root user. That's multi factor authentication, and it is highly recommended for all of your accounts, but especially for your root user account. So I'm going to go ahead and add that right now, and I would recommend that you do the same for any AWS accounts that you create. So in my case, I'm going to use a YubiKey combined with a software application. So I'm going to do YubiKey primary for mine because I have two keys. I'm going to click Authenticator app here, and then I'm going to click Next. And then I'm going to do this setup on my own. It's going to require me to get a couple of things, and I will be back in a second after I've completed this. And now we have MFA set up, and it should not bother us anymore on the IM dashboard here. The next thing that we're going to do is allow non root users the ability to look at and manage billing information. In general, we don't want the root account user to be used for much of anything. Really, it's just for closing down the account in the future if we no longer want to use it, handling really critical issues that only the root user can do. But for most things, whether it's creating things or even managing billing, we're going to want to give that to IM users, but we have to first enable a setting for that. So in the top left here, we're going to click on our account name, and we're going to go to the account link. And on this page, we are going to scroll down and we are going to see this IAM user and role access to billing information. And in here, we're going to click edit and then activate IAM access and then click update. And so now we can give IAM users the ability to do billing things, which they wouldn't be able to without that setting activated. While we're here, if you would like to, you can scroll up a little bit and also click on go to this alternate contact section and add contact info. I'm not going to do it right now, but this is the sort of thing that, especially if you were doing this for a business, you would really want to fill out these fields. If it's for a personal account, you already have given them your contact info, and it's not going to be different across these contacts. But in a business situation, your billing, your operations, and your security contacts might be different. So this would be important to fill out. So the next thing that we're going to do is set up a budget and billing alert to alert us to when additional spend is happening that we are not prepared for if we're reaching a certain threshold. So we're already actually in the billing and cost management area. So on the left-hand side, we're going to find budgets and we're going to click that. And from here, we're going to create a budget. We will use a template. We will use a zero spend budget, which means that basically as soon as anything is spent, we're going to get a notification. There's a bunch of different options here. You can do things based off of monthly, a daily savings plan, reserve utilizations. But again, the zero spend budget, when you're first starting off an account, especially for personal use, is really the thing that you're going to want. This seems like a reasonable starting name with a descriptive name. And then we're going to want to put in an email recipient, basically whichever emails, either personal or for business, that you want to be notified as soon as something crosses the zero spend threshold is what you're going to put here. And then we will click create budget once the email is put in there. So the last thing that we want to do is set up a IAM user to use instead of our root user going forward so that in general, we don't have to be logged in as the root user. So to do that, we're going to go back to the IAM console by searching in the menu. And we are going to go to users and we will create a user here. Now, there's different ways that you could do this. You could create a group, attach policies to it, and then put the user in the group. For the sake of simplicity right now, since we're just getting started, I'm just going to create the user and attach a policy to it. But again, there's a number of different ways and a number of different best practices depending on your circumstances that might apply better. So just know that there's a few different ways you could do this. We're just going to keep it simple for now, though, and create a single user. So this we will call our administrator IAM, and we will provide the user access to the AWS Management Console. I want to create an IAM user. I'll cover Identity Center in a future video, but for now, we're going to keep this simple. And we will do a custom password. So I'm going to go ahead and set this, and I will clear this out and be right back. And so I have a password set now, and I will click next. And in this case, we will actually change our mind and add this user to a group. So we will go ahead and create a group. We will do administrator access. This will be administrators, and we will create the user group. It is a best practice to not apply things directly to users unless you have a good reason to. In the case of administrators, it does make sense to put them in a group, so we'll just do that here. We will add them to that group. We will hit next. And then we will create the user. Now we will return to our users list. So the last thing that we want to do here before we leave the root account user to finish setting up the IAM user is to go back into the IAM console, and we're going to set up an account alias to make it easier for users to sign in. So once we're in the IAM dashboard, we can see in the top right here that there's this AWS account card. And here there's an account ID, there's a account alias option that we're about to create, and then there's a sign-in URL. All three of these are things that you might want to have on hand in your password manager for being able to sign in, because your IAM user is going to need one of these things in order to be able to log in a minute. So we'll go ahead and create an account alias. It has to be all lowercase. And once you have it entered in, just click create alias. And now we're going to go ahead and log out. And if we click sign in again in the top right, we can see that we either need that alias or we need the 12 digits. You could also have used that URL instead of being at this one that I have that is not specific to that. But basically, you need one of those things in order to make sure that your user knows which account they're signing into. So we will go ahead and add our alias. We will then log in as our administrator. And now we are signed in as our IAM administrator. So we're going to go back to IAM. And because this is a different user than the root user, we're going to set up MFA on here as well. And I'm not going to go through this process because we did it for the root user, but I would highly recommend that you do it right now, because it's important to protect all of your accounts so that it's harder for them to take over if someone were to compromise the credentials. So there you have it. That's all it takes to set up an AWS account. There's really not a whole lot to the actual setup process. It's really more the security and budget pieces that you need to make sure that you take care of just for peace of mind. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next. Thanks.